Hello friends, and welcome to this new session of the Terraform Basic. Today we are going to cover about the Terraform Workspace. So we are going to learn how to create a different workspace, one for the production environment, one for the QA environment, one for the development environment, and using the same Terraform files, using the same configurations, we have specific configurations as per our requirement for all the workspaces, or you can say the environment. So we are going to discuss about the workspace in full details with complete lab. So regarding the Terraform workspace, it's help you to keep your infrastructure consistent, okay, and use a single manifest file that I already mentioned you to create many of the same things again and again. So you will define in a single Terraform file. You can inside the variable you can define if the workspace is the default one, which is the default workspace for the Terraform, or the workspace we are logging into the QA, then it will apply all the specifications related with the QA environment only, not for the what is defined for the production. Similar for the different environment. So working with the Terraform involves managing collections of infrastructure resources. Whatever the resources you mentioned in the Terraform variable file as per the workspaces that you have in your current environment. Like for example, we created a workspace for the develop and staging and productions. Okay, for the instance type for the develop, we are choosing t2.nano to be applied. Means when we create an instance, the t2 nano instance type will be created for the develop, and the same Terraform file will create a T2 micro for the staging, and the same will create a T2 large for the productions. So we are going to see complete details how to create an environment, means a workspace in the Terraform, and how we can going to deploy the changes accordingly. So now we are jumping to the lab sessions for demonstration. So you can see that this is our AWS environment. Currently, we are using the Mumbai region, okay, for all the stuff, and we currently don't have any instance running. And this is our folder, the workspace folder, where we have two files. One is the Terraform EC2 instance Terraform files, and other one is variable. So I hope you are familiar with all these things, and I don't need to tell you about these all stuff. What is the provider and what is the required provider? What is the required version? You can refer my previous video, and we are using the AWS environment for creating any Terraform related resources. Okay, so I think you are familiar with all these things. Like we are using the variable where we can say that it's a var, not data. Okay, and from where we are going to select the AMI ID. Okay, and where this file associated inside this variable file. Okay, where we keep the AMI ID and we hard coded it. For dynamically, you can refer my previous video. I already mentioned all the stuff there for how can that AMI dynamically pick for different regions. For the EC2 instance type I am providing here, this is the hard coded, and for the string, in all the cases it will pick this instance type, and we have to modify it for this particular workspace related things. For the reason I am selecting the AP South one, and the same similar all the things mentioned here. Okay, so first of all let me initialize the code, because currently we have only two files here. Okay, so let me download all the AWS related plugins. Okay, so let me initialize the Terraform init. So it will download the Terraform plugins, so that we can use the AWS plugins for the resource creations. It will take 10 to 15 seconds for the download, and you can find here the file will get created. Here we have the provider for the AWS, so it's get downloaded. Previously we don't have this folder available. Okay, so we are inside this, and it's also locked the version here. Okay, this is fine. Now I am jumping to see how many workspaces we have. So for this, you can take the help to get all the informations from the Terraform itself. Terraform workspace and -h. So it will provide all the informations like which commands to use. We have the command of new list, so select, delete. We are going to use all the commands in this particular session. So if I want to list how many workspace we currently have in our environment, so Terraform workspace, and we have to provide the list. So by default, we have only one default namespace which created, and we can create many workspaces as per our requirement. So we have the default workspace, so we will create two more workspaces. Okay, so you can use the show command also, and the star mark will say currently which environment is selected. So by default, we have only default workspace, and it's already selected. I'm going to create a new one, Terraform workspace, and we are going to create new workspaces for the development environment. Okay, so when it get created, it automatically switches to that environment. If you run again the list, you can find that now the default space is not in use. The new one which is created for the development environment is currently in use. Similarly, we are going to use for the production. Name it as a prod. Okay, and again if you list here, then you will find that production environment is currently in use. Okay, so how can I move it to the other environment? So you can use the select here. Suppose currently the production is in use, I have to use now default, so we can move it accordingly. Terraform workspace select, and here I will going to pass default one. It's very simple. And when we so it's switched to the default, and we can examine it as well. Terraform workspace show, so it will say that currently we are in the default. Okay, if you can get it in this way also, and or in this way also, by passing the list. So it will give you more informations, like we have currently 3 workspace created. Okay, and currently in use is the default one. Okay, so we created the default all the workspaces. Okay, now I'm going to change in my code also. Before that, I'm going to run the Terraform plan. So that we can verify all things are currently working fine, or if there is any bug, then we can fix it. Okay, so it's working fine as per the current code. So you can see that it's picking the T2 micro. Okay, because currently we didn't change anything related with the workspace. Now we are going to change it. So by default we have assigned the variable as the T2 micro, so it's picking. Okay, so now we are going to modify it. Okay, so we are going to do the modifications. Instead of string, we are going to use the map here. And for the default, we are not going to use a one. We are going to use the map for the key value architecture here. So for the default one, we are going to assign T2 micro, T2 nano. You can say T2 nano. Okay, and for the development environment, we have the development environment, and for this we can use T2 micro. Okay, and for the production environment prod, we can use here T2.large, T2.large, or whatever the instance type you want to use, you can use it. Okay, so I saved it, and I just downloaded one plugin, so it's getting formatted when I save it. Okay, so I don't need to validate it or format it using the Terraform command. So this thing is done, and now I'm going to use it in the inside the EC2 instance. Okay, so for the AMI ID, I'm going to use the same AMI ID, but for the variable here, you have one instance type. Okay, and you have to provide the workspace name as well, in which workspace we are working currently. Okay, so this thing is fine, but we have to use it with the lookup. So let me show you what is the lookup. So here we have to provide the map value, which I already provided here. The map, it will pick the instance type variable. What is the type? Type will be the map, and here we are going to provide the key. Default we can ignore it, it's optional. The key we are providing the workspace name. Okay, so we can use the lookup here, lookup, and just close it. Okay, so let me give you one more brief about the workspace. It's the same as the namespaces in the Kubernetes, or you can, in the Windows also, you can see that this is my one workspace and this is my second workspace. If I jump to the second workspace, hello, I am in the second desktop. So it's a different workspace. Here you can see only the notepad is open, and if I switch to the other name desktop one, here you can find several things are open here. Okay, so it's give you different environments, so that whatever the configuration you did for the different environments, it's apply accordingly. So in this case, there is a less manual error. You don't need to apply any variable files for the different reason. You can create a workspace and one accordingly. If you are doing the changes in the queue environment, just switch into the queue environment workspace and do all the steps and all the resources that you assigned, all the configuration that you assigned for that particular environment will move into that environment. Okay, so the instance type will pick according to the Terraform workspaces, and here also we are going to change something, so that the instance when get created, it will assign the workspace name as well. So we will provide it as a name as a web server. Okay, and dash with a dollar sign. I'm going to use the Terraform workspaces name as well here. Just copy and paste it here. Okay, so this is fine. Let me execute the plan and show how the changes is going looks like. So again, I'm going to use the Terraform plan, and currently we are in the default namespaces. Okay, so as per the default namespaces, it's speaking T2 Nano. Okay, the instance type, and similar we configured here. If you look into the default, for the default we are picking T2 Nano. So let me move into the development environment, and then we again going to execute the plan and see the changes accordingly. Okay, so Terraform workspace select. Okay, and the environment is development. Okay, I'm switching to the different development environment, and here I'm going to execute the plan. So as per the plan, we have the instance type of the T2 micro, because for the development environment, we are interested to deploy the instance type as a T2 micro. Okay, so my plan is already run, and here you can see the T2 micro instance. Okay, all things looks good, and we are creating only one resources. So Terraform apply with auto approve. Although this is the dangerous command, but I have only one resources, so there is no harm for giving auto approval. So it will start creating the resources of T2 micro, because for this is for the development workspace, and I assigned a T2 micro for it. So the changes will move accordingly. Okay, so it's starting creating. So let me go into the environment and just put refresh. So you can see that the web server for the development. Okay, you can name it accordingly, and whatever the name of the instance type you can going to assign, you can do it accordingly. Okay, so gets created. Let me destroy it. Okay, or leave it or create switch to the default or productions accordingly to see the changes. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to a different environment. Okay, and one more thing I just want to mention here. If you look into the this particular folder where we are executing the code, you don't find the Terraform state file here. Okay, because for the default I didn't created any resources. Okay, but when we move into the this particular folder, you can find the production and development, because we have two resources, two workspaces, and the default one is under the default, but this is the we created, and in the inside the prod it's empty because we didn't created any resources for the prod, but we created for the dev environment, and there must be a state file related with the tf state file. So if you go from here, okay, and just go to the dev, and you will find all the configurations. Okay, all the things, the resources for which id it's get created, what is the instance name in which region, so all the things it gets logged here. Okay, let me destroy this instance. Terraform destroy auto approve. Okay, so it will get destroyed, whatever the instance we created here. So one to destroy, it's starting destroying the instance, and soon you will find that the instance is gone. Yes, it's gone. Okay, let it destroy it completely. Then we will move into the productions or the default one to create an instance type of T2 Nano. And after that, we will see how we can remove the workspaces as well. Okay. So this is very important regarding your understanding also on the Terraform. The workspace part is very important, and in your company also you are going to work with these workspaces. Okay, so instance get destroyed. Okay, now I am going to switch into the default mode. Okay, so Terraform workspace select default. Okay, Terraform. I'm not going to apply a plan. I'm going to just apply it. Okay, not going to run a plan for this auto approve, because I know it will create a T2 Nano to just save our time. So it's in the currently in the default, and as per default we should have the T2 Nano instance type will be created. Okay, so let's monitor it. Let's start creating. Soon you will find an instance here with the name web server and the default one. Okay, and it's a T2 Nano. So all things looks good, and you'll find the state file also here in the workspace. Will find the state file, because now we apply the instance. We created an instance using the default namespaces, so it's get created. Okay, which have all the informations, but for the development environment we deleted. So if you go here, let me go through the VS Code. So if you look into the state, now all things gone because we destroyed the instance. So all the informations which get logged previously get destroyed. Okay, and one more thing, let me also show you how to remove the workspaces from the environment, like we are going to remove the prod. Okay, so Terraform workspace, and just ask for the help. Here you will find one delete to delete the workspaces. Okay, so you have to provide Terraform okay workspace, and here you have to pass the flag the sub command as delete. Okay, and what you want to, which workspace you want to delete? Prod one. Okay, so then now the prod will be gone. Okay, okay. So Terraform workspace list. So it will show you that now the prod is gone, and currently we are in default workspaces. So if you guys like my video, please subscribe to my channel.